Welcome, this is Carrie Schell from On Point Quilter. In this tutorial, you're going to learn how to use applique to create a Hawaiian block. And this can get super easy when you use a Hawaiian quilt font as a guide. In Word, I went ahead and typed out all the letters of the alphabet. I then selected all the letters and changed the font to Hawaiian Quilt 1. Scroll down and find a block that you would like to copy. I selected the letter I. Select your snipping tool if you're on a PC, and if you're on a Mac, select Command plus Shift plus 4, and both will do the same things. Select New and drag a box to select an area that you would like to save as a JPEG. Select File, Save As. Navigate to My EQ8 Images, and let's label this Hawaiian 1 and select Save. In Electric Quilt, I'm going to select New Project, and I will label this Hawaiian Quilt Blocks and select OK. On the home screen, select Design a Block from Scratch. Select a new block, Pieced in Applique, and Easy plus Applique. Select the Applique tab. In the Precision toolbar, change the block width and height to 10. Change the snaps to 4x4. We're not going to be snapping to grid, and this will clean up the workspace. I'll turn off graph paper cells, and under snapping option, we want to turn off snap to grid. We want to make sure we have snap to node on. We're going to turn off Snap Hole Patch to Grid. We're going to turn off Snap Aligned Segments. And we want to make sure Auto Join Segments when drawing are on. Anytime you're creating a shape that you want to fill with color, you want to make sure Snap to Node and Auto Join Segments when drawing are turned on. Also turn on Hide Show Autofill on closed patches. Go to the tracing image and select Import Image. Navigate to My EQ8 Images and find the Hawaiian 1 motif and select Open. And then under the message, select OK. Move the handles around the dotted line surrounding the image, as we want to have consistent white space around all four sides before cropping the block. Select OK to crop. Select Drawing Tools and select the Easy Draw tab. Select the Line tool and partition the block by drawing horizontal and vertical lines through the center and diagonal lines from corner to corner. Then I will go to the Applique tab. This will provide us guidelines when drawing an eighth of the block. Select Tracing Image and use the slider bar to lighten the image for tracing. Then go back to Drawing Tools. Select the Applique tab. Select the Freehand tool to trace an eighth of the block. With the Freehand tool, you're going to drag from a start to an end point. And I like to start and stop at the sharp points in the tracing image. Release the mouse when you hit the sharp point and begin drawing the next arc. Continue the process of click, hold, and drag, followed by release, as you draw each arc segment for your motif. Also trace an eighth of the center background segment. I had a small segment disappear, so I'm just going to go back and add another one. The next step is to clean up the tracing. Zoom in on the first few segments. Select the Edit tool and move the nodes so that they match the sharp points of the tracing image. Then with the Edit tool, select the arc and move it to closely align with the tracing image. Then the next step to refine each arc is to select the arc with the Edit tool and use the handles, which are at the beginning and ending node of each arc. And you can move those handles to adjust the curvature of the arc. Practice working with the Edit tool as you clean up the remaining arcs in those first few segments. Next, repeat the process for the next set of arcs. So I like to start by moving the nodes so that they match the sharp points in the drawing, then adjusting the arc, and then finally adjusting the handles. Make sure the final node matches the guideline that was drawn in Easy Draw. Continuing to work with the Edit tool, clean up the drawing for the center patch as well. Select the Pick tool and then select the completed segment and select Clone followed by Flip left to right. Position it over the next segment. To make any fine-tune adjustments to placement, use the Control or Command key and use the arrows on your keyboard to slightly move your segment up or down. Select the Edit tool and click on one of the nodes and move it or wiggle it just a bit so it snaps to the other node. To double check that the nodes are connected, hover over it and note that it says Middle Node. Then select the Pick tool and select the new larger segment and select Clone followed by Rotate 90. Move that into position using the tracing image as a guide. Zoom in on the upper right corner. Select the Edit tool and select one of the end nodes and let it snap to the other. Hover over the node and make sure it says it's a middle node. Select the Pick tool and select the large segment and select Clone followed by Rotate 180 and position using the tracing image as a guide. Then select the Edit tool and move the node so that the next intersection is connected. Wait on connecting the final node for now. For the center patch of the quilt, go ahead and repeat the Flip, Clone, and Edit process. Connect the first and last nodes of all of the segments other than the last one. Zoom in and select the Edit tool and connect up the two large pieces. And you can also play with the handles so that we can get a fairly straight line. Now move to the other edge. And you can see when you actually connect those two nodes, the shape will fill in. And that means we have a closed shape and we can fill that with color. Then zoom out and zoom in on the upper left corner and use the Edit tool to connect those two final nodes. Notice that they fill in. Select the Easy Draw tool and with the Pick tool do a Control or a Command plus the A key to select all of the line segments and select Delete. Select the Color tab and color the block and the background. Then select Hide Show Quilt Patch Lines and add to Sketchbook. Let's create a quick quilt for our block. Select the Quilt work table and do a new quilt on point. In the Layout tab, change the number of blocks to 1 by 1 and the size of the blocks to 12 inches. On the Border tab, set border number 1 as a long horizontal that's 1 inch. Add a second border and change it to 2 inches. Go to the Design tab and select Block Tools, Set Block, and select the Hawaiian Applique block and click on the center. With the Control or Command key, select one of the corner squares. To Fabric Tools and use the eyedropper to find the fabric and use the Control or Command key to color the borders. Select Hide Show Quilt Patch Lines and select Add to Project Sketchbook. Thanks so much for watching. For additional tips and techniques, please subscribe to my weekly newsletter at www.onpointquilter.com.